Hi, my name is Graham Smith, and I'm one of the authors that helped develop the learning approach to mathematics that is found in our textbook as well as the video you are about to experience. To learn more about our approach to learning mathematics, visit the web address that accompanies this video. Now, enjoy the video. Fractions in the order of operations. This video will help you use the order of operations with fractions. Let's take a look again at the order of operations and how they're going to apply with fractions. Remember, the first thing we perform is the groupings. Now in fractions, the numerators and denominators are also groupings. The next thing we do is exponents. When it comes to exponents, it's better to write the repeated multiplication and then multiply. Multiply and divide, remember we perform them as they occur from left to right, and addition and subtraction, perform them as they occur from left to right. Now let's take a look at an example that will help us understand how to perform the order of operations on an expression that has fractions in it. So I have the order of operations listed here on the left. We're going to start with groupings. Let's take a look at my expression, and remember, numerators and denominators are now groupings, and it looks like the numerator of this fraction has some operations. That's where I'm going to start first. But before I do that, I'm going to copy everything else down, leaving that numerator blank, copying everything else down so I don't forget anything in my expression. Now let's evaluate. 7 minus 3 is 4, so that's going to go in the numerator of that fraction. I don't have any other groupings, so I'm going on to exponents now. I don't have any exponents in my expression, so I'm moving on to multiplication and division, and I do have some multiplication right here. I'm going to perform the multiplication over here on scratch work. I'm doing this because it's going to take several steps to perform this multiplication, and I don't want to clutter up my order of operations problem over on the left. So let's go to the scratch work and take a look at this multiplication problem. Remember, the first thing I do when I multiply is I factor the numerators and denominators. Let's start with the numerators. 4. When I factor 4, that's going to give me 2 times 2. 5 is prime, so that's going to stay 5. The denominators. 15. When I factor 15, that's 3 times 5. 2 is prime, so that's going to remain 2. Now I'm looking to divide out any common factors in the numerator and denominator. I have a common factor of 2 that I can divide out, and I also have a common factor of 5. So it looks like my final simplified answer to that multiplication is 2/3. Now I'm going to come back over to my order of operations problem. 5/6 minus, and in place of that multiplication now, I'm going to write that final answer, which was 2/3. Okay? Moving on with the order of operations, I come to addition and subtraction, and I do have some subtraction here. 5/6 minus 2/3. However, I need to remember that I need like fractions to perform subtraction, and these are not like fractions. So I'm going to come over here on some scratch work again, and I'm going to build these into like fractions. So I'll start by finding the LCD. Well, my denominators 6 and 3, the first multiple they have in common is 6. So my LCD is 6. Well, it looks like 5/6 is good. It's got the correct denominator. However, 2/3 is not good. So I'm going to build that into a like fraction with a denominator of 6. My missing multiplier is 2, since 3 times 2 is going to give me the correct denominator of 6. So I multiply the top by 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So it looks like I'm going to come back over in my order of operations problem now and replace 2/3 with the equivalent fraction 4/6. Now I have like fractions, so I can perform this subtraction. 5/6 minus 4/6 is going to leave me with one of these 6, and that's my final answer to this order of operations problem. Now it's time to check your understanding of performing the order of operations on an expression that has fractions in it. Hit pause on your video player and answer this guided practice question. When you're done, hit play to see how you did. Question 1. We're asked to evaluate this expression that has fractions in it, so we're going to need to follow the order of operations. So we're starting with groupings. Let's take a look. Well, parentheses are groupings. So I have a set of parentheses here, and I'm going to look inside that set of parentheses and follow the order of operations. which means I'm going to start with multiplication before addition. So the first thing I need to do is multiply those two fractions together. So I'm going to come over on my scratch work now and perform the multiplication 5/3 times 5/4. So remember, I start by factoring. Well, 5 is prime, 5 is prime, 3 is prime, 4 is not prime, so that's 2 times 2. I'm looking for common factors. There aren't any common factors, so it looks like I'm going to get 25 over 3 times 2 is 6 times 2 is 12. So 25/12. So back up into my problem. In my set of parentheses, I get an answer of 25/12. I write down the rest of my work. Okay, still working inside the parentheses. I'm going to add 25/12 and 9/12. Those are already like fractions, so I can add those together. So let's see, 25 plus 9 is going to give me 34. So I get an answer then of 34/12 inside my parentheses. I'm done with the groupings. I don't have any exponents. I do have some multiplication to perform here. 34/12 times 3/17. Let's take a look. Since this is my last step, I'm actually going to perform this multiplication in my order of operations expression and not go over to the scratch work. So 34, when I factor 34, I get 2 times 17. 3 is prime, so I'm going to leave that as such. 12, when I factor 12, I'm thinking 4 times 3. Well, 4 is 2 times 2, and then times 3. That's when I factor 12. 17 is prime, so that's just going to stay 17. Now I'm looking for common factors to divide out. Looks like I have a common factor of 2 that I can divide out. I also have a common factor of 17 that I can divide out, and a common factor of 3 that I can divide out. So let's take a look at what our final simplified answer is going to be. In the numerators, notice all of those factors have divided out. Remember, since we're dividing those out, there are 1's left. So I'm actually going to have a 1 in the numerator. In the denominator, I just have a 2. So my final simplified answer to this order of operations problem is 1/2. If you found this video helpful, I encourage you to check out our other videos that we have on YouTube, or visit the web address that accompanies this video to learn more about our approach to learning mathematics.